Potentially catastrophic Matthew roaring through Central Caribbean. I'm Mike Naso from the IPR Tropical Update page here on YouTube with the latest on our extremely dangerous and potentially catastrophic Category 5 Hurricane Matthew, which underwent an explosive deepening over the past 12 hours, all the way from a Category 2 to now a Category 5 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. Here's the latest satellite imagery of the Atlantic, and you can see Matthew's the main game in town as it strengthens their very cold cloud tops surrounding the eye. That's central dense overcast, heavy convection off on the right side, and the outflow there. In spite of high wind shear, this thing has strengthened into the first Category 5 since Felix in September 2007. For those of you who watch these updates, it's hard to believe it's been 9 years since we had a Category 5. But we got one right now with Matthew. You can see if you're in Jamaica, where you're already under a hurricane watch, that's going to become a hurricane warning. And eastern Cuba, and even where there's tropical storm advisories here in Haiti, you have to keep a close eye. It is just north of the Colombian coastline. This is the furthest south, this close to South America, that any major hurricane has ever been. Ivan got close in 2004 on its trek towards the Western Caribbean. But we're going to talk about Matthew here. Now, this is the advisory as of 2 a.m. Eastern Time, so we'll get a new update at 5 with a new track and discussion. But as of 2 a.m., Hurricane Matthew was at 13.3 north, 72.5 west. Winds were 160 miles per hour, making it a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane, gusting as high as 195, just as bad as it gets. It's moving west at about 6 or 7 miles an hour. Now, that is a huge slowdown from what we've seen the last couple of days, and this was predicted to happen. It's even been moving south of west, which I'll show you in a minute. 941 millibars is the pressure. Remember, this thing was up over 1,000 millibars just about 48 to 60 hours ago. So it went from a moderate tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane in just 2 nights of video updates. That's how quickly this thing intensified. And even though 941 seems kind of high, remember how high the background pressures were. So 941, remember Charlie was 941 when it came into South Florida 12 years ago as almost a Category 5. The forecast track as of 11 p.m., it is expected to remain a Category 4 hurricane at the very least and begin to move north. As the troughiness breaks down the ridging to the north, it's going to slide around the western side, directly impact Jamaica, if not directly, very, very close, while it's still a Category 4 hurricane, it looks like. And the same thing in Cuba. They say be prepared for one category higher. It's expected to be at least a Category 3 or 4. It's a 5 right now. Be prepared for a very devastating hurricane in these areas. After that, it will weaken. How rapid, how much remains to be seen, but you can see it is still expected to be a Category 2, a powerful hurricane come Tuesday and Wednesday, plowing through the Bahamas. Now again, it could be more on the right edge of this trek, which is why we have Haiti under those tropical storm advisories. The Turks and Caicos need to keep an eye on it. Or it could move further to the southwest and take the western edge and head more in the direction of Florida. It is too early to rule out a direct impact in Florida as of right now. Now, the wind field with this storm is still rather small, and because it stayed just far enough north, Colombia, Venezuela, this area here, don't have to worry about those tropical storm or hurricane winds. And of course, the devastating winds, those Category 5 winds, would probably be in the northeast sector of the eye wall, right around the eye of the hurricane. The computer model guidance continues to show a devastating hit for the Caribbean here, although maybe just to the east of Jamaica. But again, when it's a Category 4 or 5 hurricane, you could get raked by the eye wall, you could get onshore flow and storm surge, certainly very, very high tides and crashing waves. So this is going to be bad news. Cuba, it looks like you're not going to escape this at all. And then after that, they diverge a bit. Some of the BAMs here showing a move towards Florida and then back off to the east. Other models like the HWRF, at least at 0Z, was taking it more towards heading out to sea. It is still far too early to speculate what impacts this will have on Florida and even the Bahamas, but right now for sure the Bahamas and of course Jamaica and Cuba are right in the crosshairs of this, as of right now, Category 5 hurricane. There's the infrared satellite imagery. It's looking a little bit less organized around the eye as of this hour, but look at that. Just a beautiful pinwheel, a very dangerous hurricane with Matthew here. Very impressive. It took advantage of very, very hot oceanic heat content, the sea surface temperatures. I'll show you that in a minute. Despite not having all that great upper level environment, it really took advantage of late September, early October Caribbean waters, and that's why we've seen it strengthen as much as it has. A nice, beautiful hurricane, but extremely dangerous. And when we look at the radar out of Curacao there, you can see a lot of lightning offshore. Still very, very nasty weather, even though you're on the right side of this departing hurricane. As I showed you, that convection is on the right side blowing up, and that's causing all this rainfall. Of course, the eye is further off out of the radar range of the radar, but nevertheless, a close shave for South America. It's not many times you're going to have to come this close to a Category 5 hurricane, but you are this evening for sure. And there's another look at it on the water vapor imagery. Oh, that looks so impressive. When you're a weather nerd like I am, this is a very, very beautiful sight, but when you see it this close to land and know that Jamaica and Cuba and Haiti and the Bahamas are going to be impacted significantly by this storm, that's very, very foreboding. You can see, as I mentioned, this is where all that lightning is blowing up on the eastern side. It is a little lopsided, but that's mostly because of this wind shear. You can see the wind shear tearing apart its western side here, and so don't be surprised if it fluctuates in intensity. But as of right now, that donut is where the hurricane force winds and those Category 5 winds right around the eye there, that is where we have the biggest threat for catastrophic damage. Now, this was a Tropical Storm Matthew's shear tendency 2 days ago, and then as it moved yesterday and then today, you can see the wind shear, especially to the north. This is kind of the outflow of the hurricane. It is still not that favorable. I mean, it's a little bit favorable further to the south. It just stayed far enough south to take advantage of the heat content and not really deal with its kind of mediocre upper level conditions. I mean, look at that map. That is not... If you told me that we were going to have this shear map and then asked if we could have a Category 5 hurricane sitting right there, I would have told you there's no chance. But sometimes Mother Nature doesn't care about upper level conditions, especially when it has hot heat content to deal with, and boy does Matthew. Look at this. In fact, the further west it gets, the hotter it gets. So don't be surprised if it even re-strengthens after fluctuating as it makes that turn. Sometimes as they turn, they strengthen even more. So we're going to keep an eye on Hurricane Matthew as it makes that move. Now, we have had some hurricanes this time of year in October that reached Category 5, but it is rare. In 1924, a Category 5 hit western Cuba, and then a much weaker hurricane hit Florida. In 1932, this one's a little bit similar to Matthew, came right very close to South America. It took a further west trek than Matthews expected and ended up turning to the right, slamming into Cuba as a Category 4 hurricane. That would be devastating if that track took place. That one was devastating. Hurricane Hattie back in '61 came into Belize as a Category 4 or 5 hurricane, and that was in very late October around Halloween. And then, of course, we had Hurricane Mitch in 1998, not to mention Wilma. Mitch in '98 as it buried itself there in Central America with heavy rains and killed many thousands. So we're going to continue to watch Matthew. Everybody needs to keep a close eye on it. If you live in the United States and Florida particularly, keep a close eye on this system because as of right now it is a Category 5 hurricane with its eyes on Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and then from there we'll tell you where it's going to go and how strong it'll be. But Hurricane Matthew, the first Category 5 in the Atlantic in 9 years. I'm Mike Naso from the IPR Tropical Update page right here on YouTube. Stay tuned, we'll keep you updated on Catastrophic Matthew.